Performance anxiety is a common challenge that many athletes face across many different kinds of sports. Feeling like you have to perform up to expectations, feeling the pressure to have to come through all the time, feeling like you have to impress somebody or others around you, regardless of what it is, all of this leads to anxiety. And this anxiety is what ultimately holds you back from getting to that next level. However, if you have the right tools and mindsets to get through this, you'll be able to get out of your own way and reach new heights. So in today's video, we're going to teach you the simple 3-step process that we follow here on Molliteum to help our athletes get through performance anxiety. Hey, it's Matt Calderoni, co-founder of Molliteum, where we help athletes discover and reach their true potential by building their resilience. And since 2015, we've helped just over 5,300 athletes from the youth to professional level, especially with this topic here today, to defeat the enemy of performance anxiety. Now, if it's your first time to the channel, welcome. But if you're returning and you've gotten value from us before, please like, subscribe, click the notification bell. It helps us grow the channel and it helps us keep bringing you more free content so you can reach your next level. Now, before we get into how you're going to defeat this enemy of performance anxiety, you have to understand it first. Performance anxiety is when you start to feel uncertain about your future and then you start to worry about it. You get anxious over it. And usually the reason is because you've either experienced pain in the past in a certain situation, or you're anticipating pain to happen in the future based on that same situation. So usually how this mechanism works, let's pretend you experienced something negative in the past in, a game or a practice or with a coach, whatever. Then you start to worry or have that anxiousness moving forwards in the future because you're feeling like you're going to experience that again. Your brain naturally does this because of its safety mechanism, and it wants to protect you from that pain. So it feels the only way for you to do that is to obsess over it and worry about it. The problem is this though, it really doesn't help you with anything that you need to do moving forward. So with this 3-step process, we're going to help you defeat that so that you're able to move forwards with it, deal with it, and most importantly, perform through it so you can reach your next level. When you're feeling anxious going into performances, you're usually focused on things you cannot control. Think about it for a sec. If you are, let's say, feeling the pressure to have to perform up to everybody's expectations, you can't control what their expectations are. Now, you can control, though, how prepared you are, your attitude, and your work ethic towards the situation. You can fully control that. You can't control if your team's going to win, which is what most athletes focus on going into big games. However, you can control, again, your preparation, attitude, and work ethic. The key to defeating performance anxiety is getting away from that uncontrollable, uncertain future and instead focusing on the things you can control to impact the future positively. Now, with that being said, to defeat this enemy of performance anxiety, you really have to get to the root cause or that pain you're avoiding. Most athletes only focus on the effect, right? The effect is the behavior that you want to happen or the result. It's like, well, I'm feeling pressure from winning. It's like, well, hold on. What pain are you really avoiding that's causing you to be anxious? That's how our brains work. We want to avoid pain and gain pleasure at all costs. So the key to defeating this performance anxiety is getting to the root of what that anxiousness is and understanding how we can turn that into controllable action so that you can walk into performances feeling fully in control and fully sure of yourself. Now, to help with this, we follow a simple motto at Molliteum, which is prepare to let go. This means simply getting clear on what's causing you anxiety, breaking it down into controllable things, and preparing yourself so that way, come performance time, you can let go and perform, right? Think of what all athletes want to do. They want to be able to let go and perform freely, but in order to do that, we have to be able to prepare ourselves to do so. Now, like you can see here on the screen, this is how we want to do this. Before the start of the week, we want to focus on getting yourself ready, or what we call locking in. This is where we're setting targets. This is where we're defeating that performance anxiety, getting to the root of it, and really addressing it. Throughout the week, before leading up to game days, this is where we want to just simply focus on your preparation so that we can build your certainty and your confidence so that you feel in control going into game days. That way on game days, or on that last part where we're letting go, you can actually just stay focused and present in the moment, which allows you to execute and you don't have to worry about a thing. So here's how we're doing this. We're understanding and addressing that anxiousness at the start of the week. We're working against it to build our confidence throughout the week and our certainty, and we're getting to game day so that we can let go. If you work on that confidence and certainty throughout the week, you're going to do what every other professional athlete does, which is correct that confidence and certainty so they walk into game day feeling a swagger and they can just let go and perform. So to keep this simple, this is literally just a process of building your certainty. We just want to get to the root cause of what's causing you to feel uncertain and address it. And if we can work against that, you're going to be fine. So the 3-step process that we follow to do this is number 1, lock in, number 2, prepare, and finally number 3, let go. Let's dive into them. Before the week starts, you want to get very clear on what's causing you that anxiousness and what uncontrollable things you're focusing on, and essentially turn it into controllable skills that you can work on throughout the week. You want to simply shift your focus from uncontrollable to controllable. When you do this, you feel out of control and you shift into feeling in control. That's the key to performance anxiety. For example, pretend the root cause of this entire thing, the pain you're avoiding, is that you missed a breakaway in your last game and now you're unsure of if you can do it going forwards in the next game. Remember I said you have that past pain and now you're projecting or predicting that future pain. So now you're worried about that and we've gotten to the root of it. The next step would then be to understand what skills really go into this so that you feel that you can have that certainty again going into your next game to be able to perform and essentially score on that breakaway. So what we would want to do is break that down into a couple skills. So if I were to break this down into 2 skills, let's pretend the first skill is making sure I'm getting to the right scoring areas, and the second skill is to make sure that I'm confident in my shot. Now this has just turned into a controllable situation because now we can work on those 2 skills instead of worrying about the past and worrying about what our future results are going to be. Instead, we're in full control now because all we need to do moving forwards and what your new target becomes now for the week is to simply build your certainty or confidence behind getting to the right scoring areas and making sure your shot is in check. That's how you defeat this performance anxiety. So step 1 is that you want to get very, very clear on what's causing that anxiousness. You want to break it down into 1 to 2 controllable skills. And now you've got your new target for the week, which is to focus on building your certainty and confidence behind those skills. Target setting does so much, especially when you're focused on controllable targets for performance anxiety, because it allows you to understand that you're in control again versus worrying about the future and not being in control. By guiding your focus now to your preparation, attitude, and work ethic, which is what we're doing moving forwards, you'll be able now to lower that anxiousness, feel in control, and execute on game days. Step 2 now is you need to prepare, or you need to put your reps in during the week. Now that you have those 1 to 2 skills to work on, you simply just need to make sure you're building your certainty and confidence to the maximum going into your performances. We follow 3 things here at Molliteum that we do with our athletes to build this. Now we've talked about this in depth in previous videos before, which we'll link here somewhere. But the key to this is the following. Number 1, you need to be practicing a form of visualization at least 3 to 4 times a week. We've talked about visualization, or what we call mental reps here at Molliteum. We've even given you audio tracks that you can use and download from those other videos that we've linked. All of that's there though, but what you simply want to do is see yourself executing that skill with perfection, or these 2 skills, in different scenarios. So we again break that down into practice scenarios, challenge scenarios, and outcome scenarios. You need to make sure to go through these 3 so that you can see yourself getting the results in those scenarios and you feel certain walking into it. The second thing you need to do is put in your physical repetitions daily now. You need to take those 3 things you're visualizing and work on them each for 5 to 10 minutes a day. Not very intense work, it's simply just getting the movements down so you now feel confident with those skills instead of worrying about them going forwards. When you put in your physical repetitions, you want to make sure you're creating a mental environment. Again, we've talked about this in previous videos that we've linked here. You want to make sure that you're performing with that intensity you need, and you want to make sure that you have a purpose behind your preparation. If you make time to work on these skills for 5 to 10 minutes a day, the things that you're visualizing, which came from breaking down those controllable things in step 1, you'll feel confident walking into performances, and you'll feel great making sure that you know what to do now. The last part to this, and number 3, is you want to make sure you add in film watching at least 2 to 3 times per week. You want to study yourself, but most importantly, you then want to study how your role models do it. Whatever you're worried about, let's pretend again, it's getting to the right scoring areas and it's shooting to score, and you're working on that shot and you're working on getting the right scoring areas. You want to find a model for who's really good at getting to the right areas, and you want to find a model for who's shooting well with that quick release or whatever it might be. The reason you're doing this is because it allows you to emulate somebody else. When you can see somebody else doing it, it does something to your brain where it allows you to feel certain and creates what's called neuroassociations, just like with visualizing or mental repetitions. When you combine these 2 things together and then add in the physical reps, your certainty is peaking at a high as well as your confidence. So learning from your role models and understanding how they're doing it, that's the quickest way and easiest way to get yourself to that next level, because now you have a guide who's teaching you where before you might have felt stuck. Now, during this preparation process, you also want to make sure you're optimizing sleep, relaxation, mental well-being, nutrition. All of that has to fit into this. So you can't just put in those 3 steps of repetitions where it's the mental, physical, and film watching. You need to make sure that you're sleeping well as well, you're eating well, you're taking your time off so that you're not overloading or burning out, to make sure that you're actually doing the right things to get the proper recovery. All of this adds up to confidence and certainty that allows you to walk into performances feeling fantastic. Now, step 3 is to let go and have a pre-performance system on game days. This is going to drastically help with managing that anxiousness, especially when you walk into your first game after, let's say, a past negative performance or whatever it might be. The point of a pre-performance system, the reason we call it a system and not a routine, is because you want to make sure you're doing things on a checklist versus having a set time for everything. The set time can actually cause more anxiousness simply because you might not have those specific time periods you hit. However, if you just have a checklist of what you need to do going into game days or what you need to do before performance, just like this system allows for, you don't need to worry about the time you do it. You just need to make sure you're doing these things. So if you focus on doing these things that we're about to give you right here, it will keep you present in the moment, it will reduce that performance anxiety, and will allow you to execute. Now, before we get into this, I will say, we suggest all of our athletes doing this 20 minutes before they leave, even to go to their performances, because the truth is this, doing this in an external environment, let's say, that's more upbeat and more, excited, especially when you're surrounded by other people, makes it a little harder to focus at times. So if you can at least just make sure to do this 20 minutes before you leave, doesn't matter what order you do it in, but just doing these things on this list, giving yourself adequate time to do so, I promise you'll be okay. So number 1, we want to start with some breathing. We suggest box breathing here at Molliteum. It's a very easy way to make sure that you're dropping that anxiousness. It's research backed. It's something that allows you to get present and centered. Now with box breathing, we simply say it like this: do it until that heart rate comes down and you feel nice and in control. Usually that's around the 4 to 5 set mark of doing an entire circuit of it. Make sure you're doing so. Again, we've linked it here that you can check out some of the box breathings that we like. But to keep it simple, this will help you calm you down so we can go through the next part of this pre-performance system. The next part we want to focus on is to get completely focused on what we can control. We want to be able to deal with those past negative limiting beliefs if they're coming up again. So what that means is sometimes you need to just reason with what you're feeling, right? A lot of times we have athletes that just run through it and try to ignore that anxiousness, when really what you want to do, if you're feeling anxiousness again, where it's like, oh my gosh, I missed that breakaway last game. What you're going to do is this: you're going to simply look at your week and say, this is all the work though that I put into it. I did the work to get into the right scoring areas. I did the work to make sure my shot's okay. I mentally did my repetitions. I physically did my repetitions. I watched my film. I'm okay, right? That right there of understanding what you're worried about before going into things instead of just ignoring it can make a world of difference and change for you, because you're focusing now on the things you can control. So the next part is, once we do that, we then want to make sure that we take the time to visualize what we need to do again. So the mental repetitions that you did before, the ones we talked about before in the last step, you can simply run through it again. And if you did download the audio from that last video link, you now have it, you can simply run through this again. Now the last part to this all is to get focused on what we call intentional actions. Intentional actions are what drive your results. Now, the best in the world don't worry about having a good game. They just simply focus on beating their last repetition with that intentional action. So if they go out there and their intentional action is to get to the net and shoot to score, which is a very simple intentional action, they're going to look at their shift or they're going to look at their last play and say to themselves, did I do that well enough? If it's a yes, they're going to go do it again. If it's a no, they're going to make a tweak, fix it, and go do it better next time. That's how simple this game is. You don't need to worry about the end result. The best in the world are focusing on being intentional with every single action they take. That means slowing things down and taking it 1 rep at a time. If you're getting anxious over having a great performance or whatever it might be, chances are you're looking at too much of the big picture, where really we need to be hyper-focused on the one thing in front of you. That's it. So an intentional action is simply, again, breaking it down into an action you need to take with an intentional result at the end. Getting to the net and shooting to score, there are your 2 actions: getting to the net and shooting. Your intention is to score. Having those 2 things in place and making sure you're doing it with that intentional action will get you the result. All you need to do then throughout the game is beat that last repetition and make it better on the next. If you score, great. If you don't, be better. Regardless, just don't stop playing that game within that 1 rep. And there you have it. That's our 3-step process to defeating performance anxiety. The beautiful thing about this all is that you can literally rip this for anything that you're feeling. If you're feeling, anxious going into, let's say, even a test at school or whatever it might be, follow this framework. It's a framework that works and we use with all different kinds of high performers, and it will work for you as well. Now, if you got value out of this video, please like, subscribe, click the notification bell, share it. It helps us grow this channel. It helps us bring you more free content. And if you want to work with a Molliteum coach, all you need to do is click the link below. We have an application process that you can take there to see if it's a good fit for you. We'll guide you and direct you into what program works best for you. And most importantly, We'll make sure to solve your issues or challenges that you're facing right now, because at the end of the day, that's what this is all about. So with that being said, follow these 3 steps. Let us know down below how it's worked for you. And of course, we'll see you in the next video. Stay resilient.
So if you like this clip and you want to watch another one, click right here. And if you want to watch the full podcast episode, click right here.